So hey guys, I don't do this very often, but Lewis is a good friend of mine and a student, and we wanted to knock this quick call out and kind of do an interview and kind of go into what we did and what we're doing as our mentorship is nearing about 6 months in. So let's talk a little bit about what Lewis has done. Let's go ahead and introduce Lewis. Lewis.
Hey Joe, how you doing?
Yeah, go ahead, Lewis.
My name is Luis Silvaya. Been in Houston for almost 20 years. Was a realtor for about 13 of that, and been wholesaling the entire time. Been out on my own for now about 15, 16 years, and I focus mainly on the central Houston area.
Nice. Talk a little bit about your lifestyle. What's your normal day kind of look like?
Normal day, honestly, my kids wake up around 9 or 10 o'clock. They come down and watch cartoons in Daddy's room, and while they're watching cartoons, I go through my text messages and my emails on my phone. I call back people that seem like they might have a secondary conversation, but I don't have to hunt anyone down. I'm constantly replying to inquiries of people that either want to sell me something or buy something, and I think that is probably the biggest difference from what I was doing before I took Joe as a coach and afterwards. I don't have to hunt.
Right. And that's the central theme, guys, is we want to always produce efficiency. Efficiency throughout, and I was speaking to my lender the other day, and I'm just going to make this quick. I don't want this to be about me, but ultimately, I said it's vitally important to be integrated, which means, hey, your life and your work are in a balance. It just means your life is integrated with your business so that, hey, you can get to your goals as a family, you can get to your goals as a business, and that's the most important thing, because we only have one time, right? So, yeah, man, glad that you got to answer that as well as can be. All right, so next question, and we're both driving guys, so we're just kind of free-balling this, but at the end of the day, we want you guys to get the most out of this. So what made you really choose us? What was the differential? What was the main difference?
Well, I've had a lot of success on my own over the last almost 20 years, but I think because I've known you almost 15 years and we've tossed deals off each other, and you always had that constant presence. You always had a deal available, and everybody wants that, even if it's just one, but as soon as that deal closes, you need 5 more behind it. And again, you were definitely a coach, but I consider Joe more of a technology coach, because he tells you exactly where to point, where to click, and as long as you have a marketing budget to make your phone blow up, you will be successful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah, and I appreciate that, man, because, we've developed a deeper friendship, and that's kind of what I really enjoy of this business. Not kind of. That's really, if we boil it down, me and Lewis are people. We went out to lunch. Where did we go for lunch? We didn't go to Del Frisco. We went to that other place.
Trulux.
Love Trulux. We had a little lunch, talked about what we can do, and it was just a fun time, man. It was a great time, and I really appreciate our friendship and our business relationship, because it's going to extend further. So that's always a cool thing, guys, and the main thing in this industry is you got to be motivated, right, Lewis? You got to stay motivated, man. And so, being cool with people. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, you just have to absolutely want it. You can't expect to spend money and have a deal close. You have to go out of your way. You have to answer your phone when it rings. It's not if it's convenient. When my phone rings, That's like me being at a slot machine or playing roulette,
Yeah.
because every time my phone rings, that's an opportunity for me to make money.
100%, man, 100%. You don't see it as a job. You see it as, oh, hell yeah, let's get some fun going on right here.
It's opportunity. I don't work for money. I try to grab what falls on the ground.
Right. You try to get the ball while it's a ground ball, man, and that's important. It's a lot of this is mindset, and we lose people mentally when we just go through the motions and they don't grasp why the foundation is there. They just want to see the money. So that doesn't really benefit you long term. And we try to tell people that, and most understand it, but a lot don't. So talk a little bit, man. You hit a home run, dude. I mean, you hit a freaking monster out of the park. Talk a little bit about that $52,000 Whopper, man. I'm still waiting for my Rolex, baby.
yeah, me too.
We'll get it on the next one.
Well, man, honestly, it was just one of those situations to where I just let the person talk. Usually, people don't know what to say, and I just, hey, how much you want for the house? And I was willing to pay about $120 or so for the house, and they said $75. It took every bit of my face not to start laughing because it was so ridiculous. I almost wanted to ask them.
Do you remember, not to cut you off, do you remember us having this conversation about price and how to set it up? Or did you just kind of go into it and that's your natural way of asking? Because I don't recall us talking too much.
No. My natural progression is always going to be, how much do you want for your property? Because everybody, even if they say, oh, well, I don't know, you know what you pay on taxes. How much do you want? Less than that? Do you want more than that? You know, do you own anything on the property? And this is the kind of research and doing the background, learning how to skip trace and do whatever. Oh, well, your back taxes on whatever. And you can find out all kinds of things. And you're not trying to beat the person up. You're just trying to get a number out of them. If they say a number, then you know whether or not you have something to work with. If they don't, then you throw out a number of, oh, well, your HCAD value is, oh, really? They knew that. And maybe they didn't.
Yeah.
But either way, they have to have an idea of what they want for their property.
And the reason I ask that way, because we have an entire section on why, and a phone call on why this is maybe the most important part of the conversation. Not most important, but it's the top two, rapport and how you ask. It's not about the negotiation. It's how you ask to start the negotiation. Would you agree?
Oh, absolutely. They don't actually always take the highest offer. Sometimes they just
say that again. Say that again, brother.
They don't always take the highest offer. My terms seem better. When they asked me for proof of funds, I got it. And I've been doing this long enough to where I have an answer to almost every objection. If you cannot overcome objections, that is the biggest downfall of any wholesaler or beginning wholesaler, is that they don't have an objection to someone's answer, so to speak. They don't know what to ask or what to say back. And the only way you learn that is by working with someone that's been doing it long enough to be successful, or by hiring someone, like yourself to teach what questions to ask, how to do it, how to approach it. And again, I don't have to look for those anymore because you showed me where to do my marketing. Those people call me.
Exactly. And guys, listen, we made a post today saying, hey, listen, I don't want you to chase it. I don't want you to chase the pretty girl. I want you to be the pretty, legit businessman, and I want you to be the guy that gets the quality deals chasing him. It's like a cat. You don't want to be out there chasing all the time. You want the quality to come to you. And we talk about cold calling and all that good stuff, but ultimately we believe in that method. We don't necessarily believe in the method of cold calling to be a core component. We utilize it, but we don't. That's not where most of our marketing dollars go, right? So, this is a good point, man, to ask you, what do you think is one of the toughest objections, man? Because there's some fucking garbage out there that they're going to throw you, and I hate it.
People always have that emotional attachment, especially when they've lived in the house or whatever, that, they truly believe in their mind that they can't give it up. Oh, there's no way. My neighbor sold their house for X, Y, or Z, and I'm like, well, there's no two houses that are the same. We don't buy houses in PUDs and planned unit developments. We don't buy spec homes. We buy houses in old, established, lot block, conforming, zoning, slab, brick veneer neighborhoods that are old. So there's a very, very good, and that's the other thing people do with all this new construction. You cannot compare new construction to an older house. It all has to do with your ability to not just talk to someone, but to figure out what the real numbers are. Thankfully, I've been in this business long enough to know how to do it, and I don't know if that's something that you offer, Joe, but it's not easy. Because if you go to Zillow...
justify. So essentially what you're saying is you know how to justify the objection, right? Like if they're giving you some bullshit, you're going to say, hey, I know how to handle this bullshit, right?
So I pull the sales off of MLS. So when someone says, oh, my neighbor, well, I'm like, well, this person on this street sold for this. And I literally show them the numbers, but I have a list of numbers that I look at all the bottom. I don't look at the top. And I actually show them the real numbers. So that's the
show them the lowest comps, or you show them the highest comps?
I show them both, and then I explain to them, well, not all the highest, but explain to them, okay, this house is completely redone. Both, you can't half-ass a rehab. You can't. That's not how it works.
And that's true. And here's the thing, and guys, this is a quick disclaimer. We tell them the lowest number because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. Has anybody been paying attention to what's going on with COVID? Yes. There's people and there's investors that have been affected. So, guys, you always must protect against your bottom risk. So this is why we do stuff like that. Hell, a lot of times what we do too, man, is we credit ourselves for closing costs, right? So hell, a lot of times in my deal, I'll tell them, hey, I got to pay the closing costs, so does the seller, and we get a credit. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in other calls, but bottom line, you justify it, right? And you have a way of justifying it because you've been in the industry for so long, right?
And you have an address. All you really need is an address. And it's right in front of me in plain paper. I can tell you the address, the square footage of the house, how many bedrooms and bathrooms. So that's a huge thing that we have not brought up. Being prepared when you get to an appointment. Have at least the HCAT in front of you. Have at least the sales comparables in front of you. Bring a fucking contract. Oh my God, you don't know how many deals that I left. And then I came, I accepted an offer after you left. Well, fuck, why didn't I print out a contract? Again, have blank contracts, even if you cannot complete it in your vehicle. They should always, I have them between my console and my seat at all times.
Beautiful, beautiful. You have 100 of them if you're ready to go. If somebody pulls you over and says, hey, I want you to buy my house, you'll be ready.
Man, I talked to a postman the other day, and he led me to a house and gave me a phone number to someone that owned the house because he'd been in that neighborhood for 15 years. Postmen, my contractors, fucking my maid, my yard guy. I got so many people that feed me leads.
Exactly. Do you guys get this? There's people like to say there's no secret sauce. That's bullshit, right? This is the secret sauce. Going above and beyond. This is the unique factor, right? Bro, nobody does that. No one does that. What you're talking about, nobody does that, man. You do that. Guys like us, we do these little tips and tricks. One time, dude, I had a seller pull me over while I was in the neighborhood. She said, hey, what you doing? I was like, I went to school down the street. and I noticed this house is vacant. Come look at mine. I was like, okay. Dude, I bought that house and I sold it for a $37,000 assignment fee. You know, easy money. Easy money. So, you know, you're doing the right, where a lot of people are doing the wrong. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, there's just too much opportunity, and if you know the right questions to ask or who to ask, even family members, if someone calls you and says, hey, no, I don't have a property for sale, well, do you have anything else, or do you know anyone that wants to sell a property? Because I always pay referrals. I rarely keep my own check, at least not most of it. But I always pay referrals to people, whether it's another wholesaler or, a bird dog or one of my contractors or somebody that brought me another deal. There's always, I work with anybody. I will pay anyone that brings me a deal.
No matter what. No matter what.
As long as I close.
Yeah, well, yeah, they have to close, right? So walk us through a little bit of this Whopper, man. You hit this $52,000 deal. Walk us through the marketing. You talked to the seller. How long did it take for you to get that phone call from marketing, from sending out your marketing, right, with our mail house that we picked, to getting that phone call? How long did that take? Do you remember?
So my marketing dropped right before Christmas.
Okay.
And I was a little worried because I was going to be in Mexico, that I was going to miss a bunch of calls.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up, brother.
Hang on. Let me pull up. Okay, now can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Mention the time it took from you, not when you closed it, but from when you got the deal, when you put out the mailers and then got the call.
So I put out the mailers right before Christmas. I think it was around December 20th. And it came in, it was before I even got back from Mexico, because I was in Mexico with my family. So it came in like less than 7 days. There were some title issues we had to clear up, which took a few months. Incorrect deeds, incorrect everything on title. So about 4 months later, I finally got to a point. I've had buyers all over the place trying to offer me $30,000 more than what I had already agreed to assign it for, but that's not how I operate. Again, the highest offer does not always get the contract. It's about relationships. So about 4 months, I actually had to close on it with my own funds, which cost me a little bit of interest because I had to pull the money out, but I owned it, and my assignment fee would have been $59,000, and after closing costs and everything I had to pay, it ended up being about $56,500, something like that. So not a terrible deal. And then in addition to that, I had 3 more transactions that closed for another $10,000 total. So through a $5,000 coaching with Joe, and it was $2,700 to do my first mailer, which I just paid for another one today. I made, say, $65,000 in 4 months.
So you literally posted $5,000 plus $2,700 for about, let's call it $8,000. Okay, $8,000 to make $65,000. What kind of return? Where do you get that? Nowhere. That kind of return. That you need to rehab a house for 8 months, in and out, buy and sell, and pray that that thing sells in 8 months.
So that house that I got, so she said she wanted 75. I actually negotiated her down to 70.
Beautiful.
Just because, well, man, that's just my job, okay? And
well, you also don't want to come off too desperate either, right? Because we've been in that situation before, and they just back off. Right? Go ahead.
So I gave them, I got it down at 60 or at 70, and my investor's appraisal on the back end, I think it came in at 249.
Okay.
So
that's the as is value.
Well, no, that would be the after repairs value, but man, the value is in the dirt. These transitional neighborhoods where they start throwing up these townhomes on bigger lots, that's where our opportunity is going to be, where we can make our own deal.
Right.
I never used to look at lots, but now that we've started talking about this, I'm like, man, if I can get a lot for 10, 20 grand, put a $100,000 house on it, sell it for $250, and we do that every 90 days. I mean, it's an extra 100 grand to split every 90 days, but shit, I can get that covered easy. I don't even have to do anything. I mean, I have my resources. I have builders. I have all that shit, bro. All of it.
Yeah, yeah, and all of it. And I want to pull something out of what you said because it's pretty important. You said you had to close on it. Now, and guys, there's opportunities for a deal that's so good that you must close on it because, hey, you'll make a little bit more. And so,
Well, and that's the thing.
Hold on, let me knock this out real quick. So
go ahead.
you knock this out, guys, on one fell swoop with the closing. There's plenty of reasons to do it, but the most important thing to know about it is that we have the capacity. Us as a company, Joe Buys Houses, we have the capacity to do that. So what that means to a new investor, a new wholesaler, is they'll make more money with us. That right there, the ability to say, hey, John, Mike, we got to close on this deal in 24 hours. You're in the top percentage, right? You're in the top 5%.
You're the 1%. You're the 1%. I'll tell you right now, the difference between most wholesalers and successful wholesalers is the successful ones have the ability to fund their own deals. Whether it's credit, whether it's borrowed money, whether it's through a friend or a family member, everybody knows somebody with cash just sitting on the sidelines. And people come to me all the time like, hey, man, I got 10 grand, I got 20. I'm like, I can't do anything with 10 or 20 grand. I need like 100 or 200 or at least 50. But, yeah, people don't understand that if you don't, again, been doing this long enough, if you don't have your own resources, if you're not able to put up, $1,000 in earnest money or pay for a survey or something, then you're not prepared for this business.
You're not.
You're not.
Incredible.
I feel like you truly have to have your marketing dollars in line if you're really going to do this. And before you do that, you need to literally, I clear my schedule. I don't take any outside jobs for at least 2 weeks after I drop my mail because it takes me that long to keep up with it. But I take all my calls because nobody's going to do it better than I am. And if I'm not successful, the only person that I have to blame is myself. I can't say, I had a bad VA or he stole a deal. I don't have any of that shit to say. So if I fail, it's my fault. That's why I like taking my calls. And I know you like VAs, but you do a lot more marketing than I do.
Yeah, but, and here's the thing. I agree with a lot of that. And a lot of us, in the industry as investors, because this industry is very addicting. And what's going to happen is you're going to hit that 10 to 15 to 20 grand, and you're just going to be like, shit, this is so simple. Might not have been the easiest, but it's so simple. Dude, I just got to do this. And so, those resources it's an indelible mark that you will not see anybody else really in the industry have. It's just relationships. And like you said from the start, me being in this industry, us being in this industry as a company for the last 10 years, look up the statistics. I don't want to make this about me, but I want to make this about credibility and sustainability, right? So it's just an example and evidence to prove this works. So, yeah, man, last couple of questions. I know you got stuff to do. We're always busy.
I'm going to pause for 1 second, bro. Give me a second. I got to drop some shit off here.
Okay.
Literally 60 seconds are left. Give me a second.
Yeah, take your time. I'll just pause it now.
Okay, sorry, I'm back. All right, we ready. What's happening?
Okay.
Go.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
All right, I'm back. Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah,
I got
okay,
you.
so we just had a contractor tell us he can't meet us up right now. Wow. Okay. When you meet up? All right. So, anyways, guys, I'm gonna keep this raw and unedited because a lot of this, man, you want to know the truth, right? And I battle this question with a lot of people. I say, why is the truth important in business? Why? Because the truth is a bridge to success. As corny as it sounds, it's the truth, right? So, in other words, if you're going and driving down the street and you drive in a broke car, you're not going to get to the end of the street. If you have a troubled vehicle and engines falling apart, you're not going to get to the end. It's the same thing as with a coach and with this industry. You must be with somebody that's truthful and somebody that's going to give it to you real. Because ultimately, if you don't, you're not going to get to that end of the street, right? And so, Lewis, would you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. Sugarcoating things doesn't do anybody a favor.
Anybody. You know, it's a friendship thing. You know, we get that, but, and you're going to, you know, we know how to build rapport and talk to sellers, and yeah, you don't want to tell them too much and too little, but ultimately, you know, when it comes down to business, you don't want to sugarcoat. When it comes down to the brass knuckles, that's when you, like, cut the bullshit, let's get this going, and let's be honest. And that's another reason why I keep this honest, too, because we don't want to attract people that are liars. When you bullshit or you sugarcoat it too much, you attract liars, right? Because you're sitting there, you know, playing grab ass for 2 to 4 or 5 hours, 2 to 4 or 5 days, and before you know it, you know, this person has screwed you over. So that's kind of my sentiment behind that. And so, okay, cool, man. Talk about a little of how you and I worked, and then we'll wrap it up with the final question. How did you like us working together, and how would you describe it?
Well, it worked out pretty well for me in particular just because, first of all, I am coachable. I've got experience. I have a little bit of technology savvy. So, you know, again, you have to be a multifaceted person. But I think we have a good rapport, and again, we've known each other for, 12, 13, 15 years, that you're constant present in the business, and the fact that you've constantly had deals, like, how is this motherfucker still doing this? Like, really? So, I mean, and there were a lot of people that I almost paid for coaching, but I felt like you were the most honest with me, and not saying that because of what you just said. I'm saying it because you never bullshit me, and I mean, you always knew, like it or not, that I could fucking take a dump for $5,000. It wouldn't matter to me. I don't have to work. I choose to work because I enjoy my job. I like to actually, you know what? I like to help people out of bad situations. I don't know why I like solving other people's problems. It's just always that's always been me, man. That's another reason I like real estate. It's never simple, ever, ever, ever. You know, you think you've heard it all, and then all of a sudden, like, what? Are you serious?
Yeah. It's always like I like to call it, some kind of, uh, you know, magic bullet that comes out of nowhere and hits you on the foot. It's like, oh, I didn't see that coming. Okay, cool. Well, let's figure it out. And because we have experience, we get into our resources. So cool, man. I really appreciate that, dude. So would you recommend us? And what do you think is the best student? Who do you think this fits perfectly for?
I would say someone that is a self-starter, that has technology savvy, and I say technology savvy, you can text and email, really not that difficult. And more than anything, you really got to want it. You can make time, just like they say about working out. You can make time for anything that you actually want to do. Therefore, if you're in a position where you need to make money, you're gonna make money. If you're in a position where you can just jack off and spend $5,000 and maybe buy one house, like dude, just go work at Kroger or something. Like just go take an hourly job. I mean, you're not valuing your own worth.
There's nothing wrong with that for some people, right?
No, absolutely not. No. Yeah. If you're hungry and you want to work hard, get up early and well, I'm not talking about Joe because you're on that Cali time, son. But get up early.
I don't wake up. I don't wake up till 11, man. Sometimes.
Well,
but
you know
in
what?
Summer, we're up at 7. But go ahead, yeah.
Well, I got a 15-year plan. I got a 3 and a 4-year-old, so I don't have really a choice. But I don't even know where I'm going after that 15 years. But as soon as my kids are done with school, my wife and I are going somewhere real nice, ocean, mountains. I don't even know yet. We're going somewhere. But we've worked too fucking hard. For everyone else, we'll buy some multifamily along the way, get a little bit of residual income, our side California businesses, and now that everything's going legal with cannabis, we've been doing well with that. We're about to buy a testing company, so, yeah, man, multifacets of business is the only way to do it. What is it? I don't even know who said, but it's multiple levels of income.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I want you guys to hear what he said and take the important nuggets, especially on this last question. You said technologically advanced or some savvy, but ultimately you just got to be hungry. That's it. You just got to be a little hungry. And the fact that that is a core trait, anybody can have that. I truly believe anybody can do this business, but it's not for everybody. It's almost an oxymoron, but it's just like you said. If you got $5,000 and you're in a place where you don't give a shit, you're by the beach, you're in Clear Lake, you're in Galveston. Those aren't really beaches, but hey, you're good. But
no, they're not, bro.
They're not. They're not. So I moved to California, but ultimately, it is what it is. If you've got the hunger and you just want to, and you got a little bit of skill, dude, we'll turn you into a monster. You will change your life, and you won't even know what to do with it. You won't know what to do with it. You'll go in there thinking like, oh man, I'm just gonna make a few grand, and poof, you make $25,000. You now are, hey, I wanted to be an artist. Oh shit, I'm not gonna be an artist now. Damn, I want to make this money.
Bro, you're gonna like this.
Go ahead.
You made my wife a believer. She's like, I always knew you could make some fucking money. 3, 5, 10 grand, great, no story. So my wife makes about $300 to $350 a year. We're about $40,000 apart right now as of today.
Okay.
So our goal this year is we're gonna have a W-2 contest. We're just we're gonna go net income, of course, because I don't get taxed. But she's like, oh my God, I would be so ecstatic if you made $150,000, and I made my whatever $250, $350. But man, times are different right now. Business is not great for most people. But guess what? There's a lot of people with empty houses just sitting there that need to be sold, and that's why, again, like you said, every 30 days, bro, we're dropping 7,000 to 10,000 pieces of mail. Period. And they will call us. We don't have to dig. We don't have to hunt. None of that shit.
Guys, tell me what you would rather have. Would you rather have a beautiful $500 steak meal at Mastro's at Steak 48, or would you rather have McDonald's?
A steak at my house. Oh wait, that's way more than 500. But continue.
My guys are a big chef here, man. But ultimately, if you can choose from the best, you don't have to deal with the other stuff, right? And so ultimately, we're trying to get you to the next level of standards. And I mean that not to you, Louis, but I mean that to everybody. You know, we always want to raise standards. Why? Because it's statistically proven that if you have more options and more standards, that you'll have more happiness. Now, there's stats, there's studies. People that have more options are generally having more self-esteem. If you have more self-esteem, obviously you are going to be more content and happy. I'm a big proponent in doing this way so that you have the best happiness. Nobody talks about it, but ultimately that's the goal. You can't be happy broke. Sorry. It just doesn't work that way. I didn't make the rules. I didn't make your mind. I didn't make your brain, right? So,
nah, you settle and you get by. You settle and you get by. That's what most people do.
That's what most people do. Most people don't have, $5,000 in the bank. Most people don't have that in their checking account. You gotta be able to focus.
That seems crazy to me. God, that seems fucking insane to me.
It's crazy, especially if you have kids. So, ultimately, I really enjoy coaching. Dude,
Bro,
how many times have I picked up your phone call or I said, hey, man, I'll call you back in 5 minutes? As busy as I am, I'm always answering your calls.
You do.
Yeah.
Or text.
Always.
Or text. Don't be shy of a text.
Or a text. Because we actually enjoy helping. Mary, she sends out our deals. Mary loves to help, loves to assist. So, guys, I don't want to take this lightly, but if you want to change your life, there's an opportunity. And maybe it doesn't make sense for you. Maybe it does. But don't sit there and twiddle your thumbs if at least you have 30 to 40% certainty. That's it.
As abrasive as it may sound, and about all this bailout and all the COVID and all the layoffs and all the furloughs and all that bullshit. Look, as cliche it is, only the strong will survive. Only the people that truly want it. We're not a fucking communist country. We're not socialized. I'm not paying, because guess who's going to pay all this money back? The people that make over $200,000. What? Fuck.
Yeah.
It's terrible when you've already made too much money in April to get your fucking bailout. Because guess what? We're paying it back. But I promise your ass, I might spend fucking more, $20,000-$30,000 in marketing this year, which is more money than a lot of people make. And that's just in marketing.
Yeah.
Fuck, my electric bill $670 last month. People are like, that's my rent, that's my mortgage. I'm like, only the strong will survive. The people with resources and the people that want it and the people that are going to do it. That's great if you got resources and if you want it. If you don't do it, it doesn't mean shit. All you're doing is getting a write-off on taxes. That's it. You got to want it. You got to earn it. Nothing is easy that's worth having.
Nothing's easy. You guys deserve it, man. You've got to deserve it. You said earn it. And in order to earn it, there's a layer underneath. You have to deserve it, which means you have to do the work. You have to do the work to get those skills.
Absolutely.
That's it. So thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it. I know you got a lot of stuff to do. It means a ton to me. And let's keep rocking and rolling.